Hi Jimmy, I want to send you this video with some of the features that might be good to consider using in your house. I know that with your budget and the area that you're building, some of these features might be make your house last longer, resell better, and keep more comfortable when you use it. Um, I used to work in this large company that we build houses all around the Houston area. We used to build neighborhoods, and we built hundreds of houses per year. And one of the things that we learned in there is that people really, when you want to sell your house, they really you can build the house in different ways to showcase the features of the house, or maybe the properties of the house, and more attractive for customers. Nowadays, one of the big um, drivers of the market is the energy efficiency, and I added few of the features, and I probably won't be able to touch on all of them because I want to keep this video short. This is a long conversation, probably it's hours of conversation, but if you, I want to show to you few of them that might be very important for you to consider. Um, one of the things in that particular case we use to make the houses Energy Star certified, which is a set of standards that make the house more efficient. And I think I have a picture at the end here. At the end of the day, when we build a house, we make a test that is they put up like a system that sucks the air from the house, create a vacuum, and they start measuring the pressure of the house, and they can estimate how much leakage or how much air is getting into the house through this system. And if the house is built with certain techniques, the leakage is very small, and the house is that what means the house is very tight. And few of the things that we do, I think you should do. You could do in your budget without any problem. I want to show you some of them here, so you can make sure that they include in your house. Um, One of the things probably that are really changing the last few years is what they call advanced framing. That sometimes they call it smart framing, in which like if you see the conventional framing, this picture right here is typically done with 2x4s, lumber and 2x4s, and the exterior walls, all the walls that go to the outside of the house. Nowadays, they are incorporating what they call advanced framing or smart framing, in which instead of using 2x4s, they use 2x6, 2x6s, right? And it looks a little bit like this, right? When you use 2x4s, usually they center every 16 inches, and if you make the 2x6s, what you're doing is adding more wood, and adding more, the cavity is bigger, so you can put more insulation on it, right? And instead of putting it every 16 inches, sometimes they put it every 19 and a half, or maybe 24. If you talk about doing 24, that means that you have more room to put insulation and less pieces of wood needed to build, right? If you see here in this example, they show a typical wall. They say this is a 40-foot wall that you need 35 studs if you build it with 2x4s, but if you build it with 2x6s, you need only 21. And the reason this one affects not only the speed in which you have to build the houses, putting less wood makes the construction faster, but also the R value, or the the value of the insulation of the wood is not as good as the R value of the insulation itself. So the more wood you put, the less efficient the house is, right? Now, obviously, you don't want to put less wood than needed, right? But using the 2x6s, you can keep the strength of the house, and you can add less wood dimensionally, and at the same time you use more insulation, more cavity is bigger. Like in this case, you can see the pieces under the windows, the cripples they call it. You have 10 with a 2x4, and then 2x6 you only need 2. And as well as the top plate, you need double top plate, and the 2x4s, and need only single top plate and the 2x6. So it's less wood and more insulation in essence. That's a big one. Sometimes they use it depending of your goals, in regards to the efficiency of the house. You can use it in the first level. Sometimes you use it at both levels, and that helps the house be more efficient. Also, the corners. The way this is the traditional way they build the corners, in which they leave some cavities without insulation. Um, you try to build nowadays the corner in a different way, so you can put insulation inside the corners as well. There are some other techniques that you can use. This one I like it a lot. Not many people use it, but it's putting this product. It has a primer, and it's like a asphalt tape that you put all between the foundation and the framing, and you cover all these gaps that the air is trying to leak through there, right? Um, Also, the type of material also can make the house last longer. Most people use the OSB, try to make it economical, but actually I think with your budget you should be able to afford the plywood, which is a little bit better. Some people, and we build many houses with a SIP system, which is, I think, is pretty much the top of the line nowadays, and covering the gaps and making them water resistant. We use some treatment also inside the house. All this is helping for the house to be more tight. Imagine your electricity bill, the air conditioning, uh, it has to work less, and the house end up being more efficient. um, there are many other things that we do when we build the houses in regards to electricity and the framing, but I think which is relevant for you, I think this one is important, and this is regarding the insulation. The conventional insulation is creating a non-climate control attic, which is the system that you use in your house. Pretty much they put insulation on the walls, and they put insulation on the attic floor, right between the second floor and the attic, and that creates uh, a little bit of high temperature on the attic. Like if you go to your attic on a typical day, the temperature is very high, and that means that the AC is really also working in that condition. But if you put the insulation, and here we're talking about spray foam insulation in the rafter or roof instead of in the attic, that create a semi-control area, and typically you can keep this temperature without any problem, around 10 degrees difference between the temperature of the house and the attic, which is making it very very comfortable, and the AC and the ducts are not being so warm as they usually was in an under-control attic. I'll show you a little bit. This is one project we did. Actually, this is not finished, but we did this insulation recently. Uh, and what they do is they spray foam on the rafters, and that gives you, on one side, more energy efficiency, because the attic also have a radiant barrier. I think in the beginning of the video you will be able to see it. This plywood that we use, it has like a shield to make the sun radiation, stop the sun radiation. At the same time, the spray foam gives you more structure, and you get the advantage of the temperature being very very low, or way lower than the typical um, construction on the attic, which is what we're looking for, right? Um, so this is very very cool. We've been doing it in most of our houses lately, and this is the way it looks on the winter. You know, instead of having all these temperatures, in the attic, everything start getting more control, and this is the way it looks on the summer. I probably won't explain you all this because it's gonna be a long explanation, but it's pretty much what is happening, and this is how it looks when you finish, right? So it's very very you can see the difference. Instead of having this is what I find most of the time in the attics over the years, they have either the fiber or the blown insulation, and accumulate dust, and the air quality is not as good, and this is stuff we breathe every day, right? um, There are some other techniques, to cover the gaps, but this is also one that I think you should be able to afford in your budget. We use trays, stainless steel trays on the windows and the doors, because no matter how good your windows and doors are, over time they tend to leak. The materials expand and contract with the heat and the cold, and the corners of the windows end up, creating some leakage, and the same thing with the doors. So what we put is this tray on the framing, so when that happens, the water doesn't go to the frame, it don't damage the frame, and that's the when you start seeing some kind of marks in the sheetrock, and it start damaging the lumber. We do it in the attic. We do it on the windows and doors and the patios, and every exterior door. That helps you a lot to keep the house lasting way longer. Um, we also like to seal the windows and every gap with this spray foam, so that makes, all the leakage stop. There are some other stuff that help you creating that house very efficient. But in the meantime, it's pretty much putting together, making sure that the features that you have in the house can be planned and also can be executed in the way that you plan it, right? That's pretty much the idea. There are some other things that you can also do to, I love using vacuum system. This is not really expensive, but it also help you to with the dust control. Well, I keep the video short, and again, hopefully you can put together these features. And if you have any question, let me know, and I'll be glad to help. Okay, talk to you later. Bye bye.